Today is November 21st. Today's quote is entitled, "What Will Happen?" And this is just a question. Actually, this question was asked by Satyanandan Swami in a seminar he was doing, and I noted the question. I like the question, and I will give the question to you, and we can discuss a little bit about how to deal with this question. What will happen to your future if you continue your life as it is now? What will happen to your project or temple if it continues as it is now? So I added the second part, but the first question is a great question, and a lot of teachers ask this question. It's just a reflective question. Look at your life, look how you're living. And I'm not saying that the answer is going to be, oh, my life will be horrible if I continue living the way I'm living. It may be wonderful. And if that's true, fantastic. But in many cases, if you look at how you're living, you'll see that there are things you may want to achieve, or qualities you want to develop, or attitudes you want to develop, that you're not going to develop if you continue living the way you're living. So this question is just kind of to project into the future that if this is what I'm doing now, what's going to be the result? For example, when I start a project, I can kind of tell if the project's going to be successful or not just by looking at what we're doing and asking myself, okay, if we do this, will it produce the result we want? And you could know pretty certainly if it doesn't seem like it's going in the right direction, or the direction you want, or it doesn't feel right, that you just feel like this is not going to work, it's not going to get what we want, you're going to have to change something, correct something. So it's a little easier to see if you're doing a project because it's not involving you directly. It's more objective, you're looking at something external. Looking at yourself is more difficult, but we can do the same thing with our own life. Where do I want to go? What's the result I want? And now, look what I'm doing. If by doing what I'm doing day in and day out, is it going to produce the result? It's a simple question, but if you back off and look at your life and say, this is where I want to go, will I achieve it? For example, if your rounds aren't good, and so you can see, well, if I continually chant bad rounds every day, I'm not going to achieve a very high level of Krishna consciousness. If I'm not studying regularly, I'm not just reading enough, but also studying, absorbing, discussing, going more deeply into Prabhupada's books. If I'm not doing that regularly, multiply that by 10, 20 years. It's not going to bring me to the position I want to be in. So one teacher said something that really affected me in a very good way, and I want to share that with you. He said, we become our rituals. So whatever it is we do daily, and the quality with which we do it is what we will become. Naturally, if we chant good rounds every day, if that becomes the ritual, we will become the product of good japa. Or if we study regularly every day in a deep way, or we write, or we reflect, or whatever it is we're doing, or we behave in a certain way, either good or bad, it becomes a ritual. The things you do every day are your rituals. So if you say, okay, this is what I want to achieve, now what are the rituals I need to perform daily to achieve that? Just as we would say, as we said, when you want to achieve something, practically you look at the things you have to do to achieve it. And when those things line up and you say, yes, if I do these 4 things, I will achieve my goal, then you do that with yourself. I do these 4 rituals daily, and I do them well, will I get the result? Or won't I get the result? And if not, I change the ritual, or change the quality, or change the quantity, or whatever it is. It's actually quite simple when you break it down in that way. But this kind of reflection is very helpful in tweaking or refining our consciousness, our chanting, our hearing, our daily activities. Maybe I'm doing everything, but I'm just not doing it in the right consciousness. I need to refine that. Or maybe I have the right consciousness, but I'm not doing it enough, so I need to add the quantity. Or maybe there's something that's missing I need to add to my daily routine. And it's like a vitamin, or it's like a food that I'm not taking, and it makes a big difference if I take it. So that's the idea of asking this question. And it's a beautiful question. And if you just think a little bit more about your life, start reflecting on how you can be a little better, what are these little things you can do, these little tweaks, little changes in your life that you can make on a regular basis, then you'll see that this is a very powerful idea. Just these things you do every day, you do them a little better, you're going to start to see you're going to come closer to those goals you have. And if you don't, then don't assume that just because you're going to live a long time, you're going to become very Krishna conscious. There's something that I've noticed, and it's maybe you've noticed this also, that some of us, especially early Prabhupada disciples, we were given responsibilities very early on. So I was, as many of you know, I was temple president early on. I was giving classes early on. They asked us to give classes, 3-month devotee. So, by the time I had been a devotee 6-8 months, giving class regularly. That means I've been giving class for 49 years, and public lectures and so on. I've been playing the mridanga for 49 years. I've been managing for 49 years. Does it mean I'm a good manager? Does it mean I'm a good lecturer? Does it mean I'm a good mridanga player? Not necessarily. Does it mean that someone could be better than I am? Yes. If they study from the right teacher who's better than I am and they apply themselves, yeah, in a few years they could be better than I am, even though I've done it for 49 years, because maybe I haven't done it well. And all I've done over the 49 years is just repeat what I'm doing. So we've seen that. Maybe you've seen that in yourself or other devotees. So apply that to your Krishna consciousness. It's not just because you've been a devotee a long time, but if you're doing the same thing, but you're not doing it well, not improving it, then why would it get better over time? Something to think about. Hare Krishna.